All right, so my guides and stuff that are time sensitive, they're all out of the way now. Now I want to talk a little about this update because, well, it was absolutely abysmal to some degree, which I was hoping was going to be remedied by the time this video went out. I mean, it's 72 plus hours after the update for Season 4 Reloaded, but I mean, this is late by all indications comparatively. We still haven't seen a whole ton of this stuff taken care of, unfortunately. The information is still relevant. Season 4 Reloaded had some expectations in regards to genuine fixes, not necessarily just content, which there was minimal of that to begin with, but that's a different story for a different day. But bug fixes, all kinds of different stuff that was supposed to be remedied here with this. There was a lot that needed to be taken care of, and yet somehow this update missed the mark by a bunch, and on top of that, introduced a lot more additional problems. For recap, this time last week, we were talking about things we're hopefully going to be seeing fixed. Things like Warzone stat tracking, SR tracking in ranked modes, voice chat names on the HUD, downed elimination bugs in Warzone, gulag footsteps, player kick notifications in the kill feed, UAV bugs in multiplayer, hardcore and private matches still being bugged, gameplay tooltips turning on every single time you booted up the game, with the potential to break your very input and not be able to move or anything like that in-game if you change those to be off in-game. Infills in Warzone also were dropping players straight down. So there was a lot of stuff that was, at this point last week, hopeful remedies on the future with this update that we have already seen. Now, to be fair, some of these have actually changed. Tooltips were apparently fixed, which means if you try to turn them off mid-game, they shouldn't break your input anymore. The player kicked from the game in the feed has apparently been fixed as well. It seems like infills, seeing other people's streams and everything, have been fixed where you don't drop straight down for the first like 20 to 30 meters, but there's still plenty that has persisted. As we mentioned in a video last week, we were talking about these changes. It was almost like a certainty given the issues that we've seen at least this past year, but also the last couple, where it seems like every single update fixes a few things, but also introduces even more issues. So last week, we literally talked about this. We were like, we're probably going to have some things persist with Season 4 Reloaded that unfortunately will last all the way until Season 5, because it seems like we're only getting one update per seasonal refresh at this point, which I don't agree with, but that just seems to be what we've had so far. But we talked about how there was going to be things probably breaking with this update, and man, that it did. The biggest of issues, well, that was PC performance. I know that this is something that is a smaller subset of players by comparison. I'm sure that Xbox and PlayStation players far outnumber the amount of PC players, but there is absolutely no shortage of PC players. So it is still a very large demographic that is affected here by this, in which case it didn't matter what specifications or hardware you have in your system, the game was running horribly. Abysmal for Warzone and a lot of MP, frame drops to the point where it was like PowerPoints. I saw players with like 4090s, which are the top level GPUs, getting like 80 FPS max. And that's like a cherry picked best case moment. The performance, for whatever reason, absolutely tanked here on this. And on top of that, connection was just insanely bad as well. I personally didn't have any issues when I was playing the raids here the last couple of days. And I don't know if I saw too many people having issues with the raids. I saw it primarily in Warzone and MP, but the connection, I mean, it's only 3 people. I was frame skipping like I was playing on McDonald's Wi-Fi. Like, that's how bad the latency and the packet loss was after this update here at this. So I'm just like kind of baffled that it seems like every single update consistently, instead of a game being optimized further, it seems like we're just regressing by 20 to 30 FPS every single update until like 2 to 3 to sometimes 4 weeks right before the next update goes out, that things then finally get stabilized. Now again, to be fair, they have mentioned that they are testing a fix for performance issues, but we just can't simply not state how bad this has been the last 72 plus hours. I mean, it was genuinely something that makes me wonder each update, regardless of platform, how this happens so often and so bad at this point too. Like, I mean, you had a stable build essentially with the last update. What changes fundamentally from that to here where it just like it pulls the rug out from underneath it? I just personally don't understand. I get game dev is a house of cards, but like logically that doesn't make sense to me. But also, here's the thing. That was, of course, the biggest game-breaking issue that we had, because people genuinely can't play the game, or it like makes them nauseated to try and keep up with that flipbook status that they have for the game. But there's still a lot of stuff that still has not been fixed. One of the big ones was the UAV bug. That was introduced with Season 4 here, where it acts as an advanced UAV, and instead of a sweeping reveal of players, they're just consistently on the UAV. So that's something that almost makes you required to take ghosts to stay off the radar and to not have your position consistently given away. Integrated suppressors in the same regard are still bugged, again, since I think Season 4. Hardcore private matches is still one that is not fixed, and this is this is so small by comparison. Like, this is genuinely like a first world kind of complaint type of thing, but I bring it up because it has not been fixed. It has not worked how it's supposed to since hardcore was introduced in what, like season 2 reloaded or something like that. Ever since hardcore took over for tier 1, private matches have not had the proper HUD elements or lack thereof at any given point. We're going on 4 to 5 months of hardcore being broken in private matches where it doesn't properly show, or again, not show what you should see. In grand scheme of things, that seems like it'd be a very simple fix, no? And like, it's so small because it's been so long that it bothers me to that point. I don't even think that Infinity Ward knows about this, if I'm honest with you, which again reminds me of that story where I've said before that going into season 2, we had to call some developers to learn about what's upcoming in terms of changes back then. And someone asked if there was going to be a fix for the broken perk packages in Warzone. And not naming names, but a lead dev had said they weren't aware of it and they didn't see any reports of it. I genuinely thought they were trolling because, like, that was the biggest gameplay thing that was broken at the time. So how were they not aware of it? But guess what? There was no fix that came that next update. So, like, I genuinely think that they might not even realize this is broken after 4 to 5 months here. But I mean, anyways, we also see that stats are still not tracking properly in Warzone. Your deaths will track every single time, but your kills, assists, that stuff will be sporadic. It won't track every single bit here. AI strength seems to have been broken here, where you just get absolutely shredded in DMZ and Spec Ops after the update. There was that infinite cache bug. Thankfully, that has been fixed now, so you're not going to see too many people hopefully abusing this anymore, assuming nothing slipped under the radar. Raids started crashing on all platforms. Raid rewards were not tracking. So like, it's just one of those things where I get that we're going to have issues that come through that are a byproduct of that house of cards, where you hopefully just get to patch things up as quickly as possible. But there's been so many things with this update that have just been so disappointing. And I hate that this whole video is going to be just essentially me bitching, but like, I just don't understand how this happens so consistently. Like, I'd almost say it's impressive that every single update, there's something that has to be mentioned in regards to the game is literally broken. It'd be impressive, but like, it's just so frustrating that I don't want to say it's impressive. So fingers crossed this is stuff that does get resolved soon. If you guys have noticed issues, you are absolutely not alone. This update itself did genuinely break a lot of the game for a lot of players. So again, fingers crossed this gets fixed up. And man, this just seems to be like another mark on a really frustrating year in a lot of senses. So it's unfortunate that we keep hoping to see something good that like changes the community reception of the game, but just at every turn something goes wrong. So that's where we're at. Just wanted to fill you guys in and give you my thoughts here on a little bit of this. It's kind of par for the course at this point. Hopefully this didn't sound like too negative of a video or like too just I'm only complaining about the game type of thing, but like, it's hard to talk about these issues and not be frustrated. So I mean, that's where we're at. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, drop a like. And of course, if you're new to the channel, you'd like to step it with, I guess, Modern Warfare 2 stuff like this, and also other stuff going into X Defiance launch and other FPS content, I'd love to have you in the community. Hit the subscribe button. But that said, thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.